Hi, we're Young Nomads. Stoked to be working with Thermoshield on this one. Our roof had a little bit of rust on it, a few pinholes from just sort of sitting around. We wanted to insulate the roof a bit more and get rid of the rust, so decided to go with Thermoshield.
We're so stoked with how it turned out. We've had a lot of rain here on the east coast of Australia, so it's taken us longer than we'd hoped for, but we are so happy with the end result. We've made a blog post on our website with all of the products that we use through the process, so if you want to check that out, we'll leave it linked in the description below.
In step 1, we pressure cleaned the roof, sanded with a 60 grit sandpaper, a quick pressure wash to get rid of the dust, dried it off with a blower just to speed up the drying process, then taped up ready for painting.
Just sorting out this bit of a rust spot. It's at the back of the bus. It goes down from up top down to the gutter. Just been cutting out the silicone along there and inside here as well, just till where there's no more rust anymore. We'll convert that and we'll prime it. We'll filler it with some 100% polyurethane, which is recommended by the manufacturer.
Step 2 is so important, as it's not enough to just sand or wire wheel the rust away. You always need to then apply rust converter to help prevent the rust from making a comeback. Shortly after applying the first coat of rust converter, we had a massive rain shower. It is not recommended to apply within 2 hours before dew point or rain, and as usual, the weather forecast was a little off. We got this off fairly easily the next morning with some car wash and a scrubbing brush, but definitely wouldn't recommend. You can see some white patches where the paint diluted in the rain shower due to being water-based. We gave it a quick sand and started on the second coat.
We're going to be using some of the porous permeable membrane, which is this stuff right here. We're going to be just using it to fill up some of the pinholes in the roof. Sort of 1/2 mil big, and what the process is putting down the first layer of rust converter, and then when you're putting down the second layer of rust converter, you chop off how much ever you need. You sort of paint it down, the rust converter, and then you also try to wet this as much as you can, and then lay it down and then paint over it so it creates a seal and sort of gets bedded in with the rust converter. Found these two spots when I was putting down the rust converter on both sides, just behind the cab, just where the seal is. There's a bit of rust in there, so I've chopped that back with my knife and got rid of all of it and given it a little bit of a sand back. I'm going to have to apply a little bit more rust converter just before we go and put the rust primer on top of that.
And this is how it looked before it started its transformation back to white.
This next step is laying down any sealants or such that you need on your roof. Unfortunately, we've lost the hard drive footage for most of this. So I'll just run through the process. On our roof there's 3 different sheets, 3 different skins, and where the front joints to the middle and then the middle joints to the back, just whatever they used in factory, the sealant there has come away a little bit and a little bit of surface rust has sort of formed in that joint. So what I've done is I've just chopped it away as much as I needed to get to sort of where there is no rust showing. I used some rust converter and just made sure that I neutralized all of that. And once that was done, I've gone and used this Sika 252. Recommended from Thermoshield is just 100% polyurethane. I just ended up choosing this one as sort of looked like the best thing for what I was trying to achieve. And what I did is I just laid it down into the joint. Big tip is using one of these picked it up from Bunnings. It's a sealant silicone spreader. If you're as shocking as I am, you're definitely going to want one to sort of have any sort of hope. And this is what it looks like on the roof after I've finished. So I'm pretty happy with how that's turned out. And yeah, we're on to the next step now. So the next step is laying down the etch primer. The etch primer sort of just brings everything together before putting down the Thermoshield. So on the roof currently we've got the rust prime and then also some Sika from little patches that we've done. So this just brings it all together before laying it down. When they send it out, they'll send out a part A and a part B. They'll send out the perfect ratio just so then you can sort of mix it all together and then start laying it down. And then I just painted it on the roof just like I normally would, just one coat of this, and then recommended by Thermoshield, as soon as this dries, you just lay down a quick little thin layer of Thermoshield and then let that obviously dry before fully applying the rest of the Thermoshield that's provided.
Depending on the size of your motorhome, Thermoshield will help you calculate how many litres of their product you'll need.
This is what it looks like up top after we've put the Thermoshield on. You can see it's a little bit textured. That's from the roller, and these lines are from the brush. We're using the brush in sort of the more hard to get to places, and then the roller onto those bits. When I was rolling, I was sort of rolling sideways across the whole thing from the back to the front. I'm sure you'll find out your own technique, what works best for you. And so pretty happy with it now compared to what it looked like at the start. A few holes in the roof, just little pinhole ones, and also it was quite rusty, so pretty happy to see all the rust gone and converted, and pretty happy to sort of have no issues with that anymore. All the Thermoshield paint is now on the roof bar a little bit. We've kept it tiny little bit just for any cutouts or drill holes in the roof for the max air and the skylight and the solar awning too, anything else we sort of do along the way up there. So next will be the clear coat. We're going to be putting on 2 layers of that. They recommend using a 6 or 7 mil nap roller. We've been using them throughout the whole process, just a 6mm nap roller. We found that at our local paint shop. They didn't actually sell any at Bunnings. Yeah, so we're just going to do just a standard clean off of the roof, and then we'll get into painting the clear coat on. Pretty excited to be at this point. Last 2 coats are going to be going on, so if this weather holds off, which it should be finished by the end of the day. That went well. Scraped up what I could, so just have to wash off the rest of it. Luckily it's water-based and environmentally friendly. Not sure how to graft hook there might be a little bit of a pattern in it. Find out in weeks to come. So here I am again. I thought I'd have the roof completed last round, but the weather decided to change on me last minute. Started to very slightly sprinkle, so I wrapped it up for the day so the last of it sort of could dry before the rain did come. So yeah, just got one. I only need to really do one coat on top now. Just sanded it a little bit. Still getting ash from the cane fires and stuff, and we've got a big construction site just up the road, so getting a bit of stuff falling on the roof and it's sort of sticking to it, so just gave it a very, very, very light sand and giving it a quick power wash again and blow off, and then I let the final part of it dry just from the sun. So now it's ready to get into it, and hopefully this will be my last coat. The finish already from just putting on that other sort of layer is great, definitely happy with it. I'm so excited to see with the final coat on there. Final product. Nice shine to it. Definitely looks nice with the top coat over it. Stuff definitely sticks to it less as well. This is what the patches end up turning out looking like. So I've been thinking and I've been wondering how much the Thermoshield weighs once it is laid down, and I've conducted a little experiment. I've just used some cardboard and I've put 50 grams of Thermoshield onto one piece of cardboard and then 52 grams onto the other. So we're going to see what it weighs. I think it's been about 9 days that they've been sitting and sort of drying for, so I dare say they're definitely fully dry by now. Lost as much weight as they're going to weigh, so let's see. So the pieces weighed in at 467. So this has had a total loss of 25 grams out of 50 grams. So that means that it weighs half the amount of what I've put on the roof, which is incredible, really. Stoked with that. And then the second one is 444, and it weighed 467 as well. So plus or minus like 1 or 2 grams, because I think the weight might have been a little bit different. And we have 23 grams off on this one, so that's almost 50% as well. So safe to say, sort of like it loses about 45 to 50% of its weight once it dries out. So that's a massive bonus for anyone that's sort of like us and they're trying to keep their weight limit down. So a wrap up of the whole process, we're pretty happy with how it's turned out. Looks great up top and all the rust is gone.
You!